What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Crime Center. Today I got a pretty good one. We're going to talk about SPM. I seen a couple of people brought him up because he just recently went and saw Parole, but he got a 3-year set off. And I always see all these comments trying to back him up, excuse what he did, and some people don't excuse him for what he did. To be completely honest, I thought he was innocent as well. I really did. I still might. I guess you're gonna have to see at the end of this video. I'll give you my opinion. Go ahead and listen to everything I gotta say. I got my notes and everything. And then you tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think he's innocent or if he's wrongfully accused. So I did a bunch of research. That's why I got this book of notes right here. It's a lot of stuff, right? So I don't even know if a lot of people know who SPM is. South Park Mexican. It's been a generation or more since he's even had his freedom. But I know a lot of his music still goes around. I know a lot of people still listen to it. So his actual name is Carlos Coy. He was born October 5th of 1970, which makes him 54 today, so he's old. He was incarcerated in TDCJ, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, on 45 years for aggravated assault. I'm pretty sure you can think in your mind what that S means. I don't want to say it because I don't know if YouTube's gonna feel some type of way about that. So, like I said, he just recently seen parole. He was given a 3-year set off. So in 3 years, he'll come back up for parole again and see what happens. His projected release date, which is when he's done with all of his time, that's when they project him to get out. That's April 8th, 2047. So he's going to be sitting down for a while. He's already done, what, 20 years, I think? Something like that. So, check this out. In my childhood, when I was a lot younger, I always thought and was told by a bunch of other people that he was incarcerated because he slept with a girl who was underage, about 14, and the reason he did that was because she worked at a strip club, and he went in there, talked to her, figured she was at least 18 because of where she was working, found out later that she wasn't, so that was the excuse for that, right? It could be true. I don't know. He's not locked up for that. I mean, he kind of is, but he's not. Could be true. Could have been a stripper working in a club, whatever, right? But everywhere that I've looked, every single note that I've written down, I've never seen anything like that. So the whole reason I thought he was locked up wasn't true. That's like a fraction of the reason why he's locked up. I never knew that. So I went and I called as many of my family members as possible. And I asked them, hey, SPM, what's he locked up for? They all gave the same story. Oh, he was with the stripper and blah, 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 right? Everybody that I know, everybody that I've called, over 10 people said the same exact thing. And I was like, you know what? A lot of these people out here that are sticking up for this guy, they think the same thing. Because if they knew the entire story, I think they would think different. So to all the people out there who thinks that that's why he's locked up, go ahead and kick back and listen to this, right? So all the digging that I did into everything that I could find, I went on all kinds of websites and like official state websites, not just anything. And all the stuff that I did is written down right here. So excuse me, I got to look at my notes some. But what I found out was crazy. I used to be a big supporter of South Park Mexican. And to everybody out there, I'm going to read you all this stuff. And while you're finding out everything, you decide what you think about him. I will tell you how I feel at the end of the video, and I will tell you why. So let's go ahead and get started. First incident, July 2000. Houston Police Department appeared at the headquarters of Dope House Records with court orders for Carlos Coy. It involved a lawsuit filed by a 20-year-old female. The female had claimed that Coy had gotten her pregnant in 1993 when she was 13. Their son was born later, and the time of the lawsuit, the baby was 6 years old. So when she brought this up, the baby was already 6. The woman was demanding child support. That's why all of this got brought up, right? So what they did was they went and they got Carlos Coy and they made him take a DNA test. You know, you gotta, is that really my baby, blah, 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 whatever, right? You could deny it, whatever, but DNA test is going to call you out every single time. So that's what happens. They take the DNA test, the test come back, and it was 99.9% confirmed that he was the father. 99.9% confirmed. So this dude slept with a 13-year-old, got her pregnant, and now he had, at that time, a 6-year-old kid. He had a kid with a kid. So there's no denying that one. You know, there's no denying that. It's proven. So Carlos Coy was ordered to pay $28,000 in back child support, as well as the hospital fees for the birth and prenatal costs. This was the first incident, and when Coy would be arrested on more charges later, this case would be brought to the attention and they would press charges, criminal charges. Now let's go to September 25th, 2001. Arrested on charges of aggravated assault of a female child. The child was 9 years old. He posted bail for the 9-year-old. And the incident occurred on Labor Day weekend. Coy would be indicted on December 10th, 2001. You would think being caught for something like that with a 9-year-old that you would quit, right? Check this out. While out on bail, 2 more charges would follow for the assault of 2 other 14-year-old girls in New Caney hotel room, March 2002. So he's arrested with these 2 new charges of 2 14-year-olds, and they don't give him bail this time. He's held without bail. You can't, whatever, let's keep getting into it, right? While facing all these charges, the first one would come back to haunt him, the one with that he had a baby by. DA would seek justice for both, well, you could call them both children because that's what she was at the time. The DA was trying to get justice for that little girl because he didn't have no business getting her pregnant at 13 years old. She hasn't even had time to live, bro. Like, she's a child. What about a child's body turns you on? So anyway, trial began May 8, 2002, when the mother of the 9-year-old testified her daughter left from a sleepover at his house because of abuse. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another. So let me tell you about the story of this 9-year-old. The mother, who was the first witness to testify at court, her then 9-year-old daughter had gone to Coy's house in Southeast Houston on September 1st to spend the night with his daughter. So I believe the whole story was they had all went to go out to eat. Carlos Coy, I think his girlfriend at the time, his daughter, the 9-year-old and her parents, they all went to go eat. And while they were out eating, the little girl asked her friend, "Hey, can I come sleep over at y'all's house?" SPM was like, "Yeah, sure, like you could come over." And the mom said that at the time she felt like something was wrong not to do it. But I mean, of course, you can't predict these kind of things, so she gave in and let her daughter go sleep over there, right? So the following day, the daughter told her mother that Coy had touched her intimately. Because the child was younger than 14, the charge was aggravated of a child. It's a first-degree felony, and it carries up to a life sentence. That's what he could have got. So the lawyer, Chip Lewis, told the jury in his opening statements that the prosecution's story had vast inconsistencies and that each one would be picked out. Coy was 31 at the time and was also charged with 7 other counts of assault of kids. 4 of them would be aggravated. 7 cases, along with 6 others, were not being tried at the time. So when he was going to court for the 9-year-old and all this other stuff, he had all them other charges on him, but they weren't going to go after it right now. They're trying to focus on this to make sure that he pays, right? So the 9-year-old incident was explained like this. Like I said a minute ago, the girl and the mother and 2 brothers had eaten dinner at a restaurant with Coy's wife at the time and her 2 children. Coy's wife and the girl's mother had been close friends for years, so they've known each other. And it makes sense, because usually whenever people do things like that they're not supposed to, it's always somebody you know. It's never a stranger, none of that. It's always people that are closest to you, and that's sad. After dinner, Coy's 6-year-old asked if the 9-year-old could spend the night. The mother stated she wasn't enthusiastic about the idea, but let her daughter sleep over with her friend anyways. So after the girls got back to the house and they played whatever they were going to do, they laid down to go to bed. I think they were watching a movie or something. The girls had gone to bed and Coy's daughter had fallen asleep. So Carlos Coy was said to have had sat on the bed and touched the 9-year-old inappropriately. And he licked her down there. This grown man licked a 9-year-old. She asked to go home, and I guess Coy, not knowing what to do, drove her back. She told her mom the next day, because check this out, when they got there, Coy had told the little girl to say that her stomach hurt and that's why she wanted to come back home. He dropped her off, and I guess just trying to make sure that she doesn't say anything, he stayed there and talked to the mom and whoever else was there, right? And this dude, in court, they said that he told them, like talking, trying to like throw them off, I guess, that he really liked the 9-year-olds dancing and that he wanted to open up a studio so that way she could live out her dreams. Bro, I'm at a loss for words with that. You just did inappropriate stuff with this person, and to try to cover it up or like sweeten them up, I guess, you're gonna open up a dance studio so she could live out her dream. That's sad, bro. Like, I don't understand that. Like, you're a grown man. This is a innocent, helpless individual that you're doing this stuff to. I don't know what somebody would see in a body that's not even fully developed yet. Like, I don't know what it is. So yeah, like when that dude's sick, dude. So anyways, let me look at my notes. So okay, so one of the reasons he was convicted was because of the little girl's testimony. It came up in court that she could have been coached to say these things. That's the number one excuse everybody likes to go to, except I don't think they knew it was a 9-year-old. They thought it was a 13-year-old stripper, but it's not. So he said, and this is another good one, that she was coached and it's some sort of ploy to get at him, right? Some kind of jealousy, something. Like a 9-year-old's gonna go and say stuff like that just to get at you, or for the mom to get at you. 9-year-olds can't even lie to their parents. You really think that they're gonna go and lie to a courtroom over and over and over again? You gotta excuse me, man, because this video is something that I really honestly thought about not doing, because it gets to me, right? So the prosecutors expected this dude to say something like that about the little girl being coached. So they had the child interviewed by the Children's Assistance Center. The interview was conducted by Fiona Stevenson, and the little girl told her that she was touched and licked, and specifically pointed out the area that she was touched and licked. She had also told this to one of the officers who was leading the investigation. When they picked her up, I guess the officer asked, "Hey, what happened?" And she said the same thing. She was touched and licked, and where? And she also said this again to another individual that was helping with the interview. The story was the same to multiple different people. It was the same from the beginning all the way through. Like I said, you really think a 9-year-old's gonna be able to keep a story together if it wasn't true? I don't care what you tell your kids to say. Go and try that. Tell your kids something, be like, I want you to say this right here, something big like this. And ask them every single day, and I guarantee you what they're gonna repeat to you is something different. This girl said this to multiple people when it was all exactly the same. And you know why? Because it was true. On top of all this, the girl was interviewed by state's expert Susan. I have no idea how to say that name, so we're just going to call her Susan, who testified that she did not see any signs of coaching. The defense never objected this witness until after the trial, whenever they were doing the appeal. So she expertly testified that this child was not coached in court, and the defense never objected to it. Wouldn't that be something that you instantly object? They just waited till later during the appeal. The state's expert also said at trial that the girl was experiencing headaches, stomach aches, which are all consistent with symptoms of sexual abuse. In trial, the defense had no objection to her qualifications. Like, there was no objection. Everything that she was qualified to do, they knew that it was qualified. The defense conceded that the state's expert was qualified to testify about children victimized by S. So let me tell you about the story of this 9-year-old. The mother, who was the first witness to testify at court, so there's no objecting, there's no denying that they knew that she was qualified to testify about this type of thing specifically, and they were okay with it. So why bring it up in your appeal whenever you know that you were already like you were done for? That's the thing I don't understand. If it's something, if I were to be in court for something I didn't do, and I know that somebody's coming in to ruin me, I'm gonna object. Why would you let it go? I don't understand it. Whatever, maybe they thought they had a plan or something, but that's just stupid. The expert was allowed to testify whether the child had been coached. The expert testified that her opinions were based upon her experience as a therapist and supervisor at the Children's Assessment Center, and also partly based upon reading pertinent literature throughout her career. She testified that coaching is a term that describes another individual trying to get a child to tell a certain story in a certain way, and that although she has reviewed articles on coaching, her opinions as to whether an individual has been coached was based primarily on her experience. So she testified she is familiar with the conduct that a child who has been coached would exhibit. In other words, she's familiar with how a child would go about it if they were coached. She's done this plenty of times, right? For years. You don't go to your job and become a supervisor because you don't know what you're doing, especially to a place like that. She has a master's degree in social work, is licensed by the state of Texas, has an advanced clinical practitioner credential, and is qualified to diagnose depression. She had worked at the Assessment Center, a program that provides services to abused children, for 10 years. During her first 7 years, she saw approximately 50 children per year. And at that time, the past 3 years, 20 to 30 children per year. She was more than qualified to give her testimony. And it's sad that she saw that many children in her time. I think something like that would break me down, and I would have left that job a long time ago. And that's just her. Can you imagine all the other people that have the same position as her? She was seeing 50 per year at one point. There's probably, hundreds of people who do the same thing times 50? Dude, that's sad, man. So, the witness said the girl was having increased difficulty in sleeping since the abuse. When she would sleep, it was difficult to stay asleep. She said she was having nightmares. The mother also mentioned her child was a lot more sensitive than usual, cried a lot more easily, became angry more easily, complained of stomach aches, nausea, continuing like bad headaches. State's expert testified that these symptoms are consistent with a child who's been through abuse. Now look, I get that people are wrongfully convicted. It's entirely possible that his first one, who got pregnant, could have been mistaken for an older woman, right? Let's give him that. Okay, so the first one, let's mark that off, right? So, what about the 9-year-old? What about the 9-year-old victim? What about the two that he got caught in the hotel with? So one 13-year-old that he got pregnant, the 9-year-old, you get locked up, you bond out, you're caught in a hotel with two 14-year-olds. And he knew, by the way, that they were 14 because he would pick them up and drop them off from school. This wasn't the first time that he did this with them. So he was already familiar with those girls. And then, when you're in court what was it, 7 more people came and said that he had done something to them, all at the age of 13, 14. So let's say we give you that first one, right? What about the 9-year-old, the 2 14-year-olds, and then all 7 of the other ones that came forward saying that he had abused them? You know what that's called? That's called a pattern. Too many girls to not be a pattern. Each one of these, besides one, is 14 and under. And then that one is 9. That's a pattern. I'll give you one. But what, 10 more after that? And you mean to tell me, out of all 10 of these cases, he's innocent in each and every one of them? There's no way you could even think that. There are too many to be a mistake. There are too many to blame it on anything but that there's a pattern that you like 14-year-olds and under. Picking them up, dropping them off from school, like you know this. So, let me tell you something, man. I really used to believe this dude was innocent because I already told you what the story was as to why I thought he was innocent. When I actually looked into the case and I seen that he messed with a 9-year-old, I was like, okay, but hold on, let me look into it. Let me see what it says. Still trying to stick up for the guy, right? Even though that's kind of hard. Because I had always heard, oh, he was set up. They were just trying to get revenge on him. So I was like, well, let me look into it more. Then I found out that while he was on a bond for that he had picked up 2 girls from school, took them back to a hotel, and did what he did, right? I was like, okay. That's the 9-year-old. That's 2 14-year-olds. You had already gotten a 13-year-old pregnant, and you didn't get caught for it until she wanted child support. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, that's 4 victims already. And then when you're in court, they bring up other charges that they're not going to prosecute yet, but 7 more girls who are all around the age of 14 all said that you did things with them. Come on, man. You can't, there's no explanation for that. I don't believe that dude is innocent. I believe he is exactly where he belongs. And I believe that he should do his entire time and not get out on parole. I do not support that dude anymore. I do not listen to that dude's music. And I've heard a lot of people basically say that they don't like SPM. And his supporters will be like, oh, you're just haters because you're not from Texas. I'm from Texas. I actually did the research myself to see it with my own 2 eyes. And that dude's sick. Nobody should be supporting this guy. What if you had a daughter and it was your daughter that happened to you? Do you want me to be cool with that? You could give this guy 1 tops. I wouldn't even give him 1, but just for the video, let's say we gave him that 1, the 13-year-old. What about all the other ones that you knew were young? Like, that's, come on, man. So everybody else in the world who's actually looked up his case is a hater just because they actually did the research. So we're haters for looking that up. Either you don't know what you're talking about and you need to go research it, or you're just okay with that man doing all them things to them kids. And if you're okay with that, I mean, you might be one of them weirdos yourself. So I know some people that I knew were thinking Dubs and Gunner were just hating because they're from California, right? I'm from Texas. I did the research. That dude is sick. So I don't know why anybody's still supporting him. Go on your phone right now. You could go see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Do the research yourself. I really want you to go do the research for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. Go do the research and then come and let me know that you support that. You're a weirdo if you do that. There's nobody hating. There was nobody trying to get this guy. No revenge, trying to get money. The dude was just a weirdo. And he used his name and his fame to try to get away with it. No 9-year-old is going to come and say things like that just because their mom told him to say it. Did the mom also tell her to say about all the stuff she was feeling, headaches, stomach aches, all that kind of stuff? The mom wouldn't have known to say all that. The little girl wouldn't have remembered it all to bring it up, let alone keep repeating it over and over to all these different kinds of people. Just get over it, man. The dude was sick. There was a pattern of all these young little girls that he used to go and mess with. There's evidence. He got one pregnant. He got caught with 2 in a hotel, so you can't deny those. And then all these other ones came flooding in. Why? Because he did it. What more do you need? So understand, I was watching a video the other day and SPM's sister was doing a TikTok, not a TikTok, Instagram. And she was like, oh, I know we're all sad, but it's okay because these haters don't know. Look, man, I understand that you're dead. I understand. That's about the only person I understand that should be trying to back up her dad, because that's your dad. But I think deep down inside, you know that your dad did those things. You can't tell me that 10 people all lied just because they were trying to get some kind of revenge on her dad. What he did was he rapped, he made good songs, and he thought he was untouchable. He thought he was going to be able to do whatever he wants and that the money would just bail him out every time. That's exactly why he tried using that when that 9-year-old was going to go tell on him. That's why, oh, yeah, I like your dancing. We'll go ahead and make your dreams come true. I'll open up a studio for you. He thought money was going to buy him out of what he did. And it didn't. And it shouldn't. And now he's paying for his crimes. That 3-year set-off he got in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, it's going to continue to get longer. He's probably going to end up doing all his time. He's going to get out when he's, 70, 80? Because whenever he goes back for parole, the only way that he's going to get out is if he admits to what he did. And if he didn't really do it, do you think that he would admit to that? Even just to get out, that's weird. So everybody who doesn't agree with what your dad did is a hater. 10 girls all around the same age are liars. The criminal justice system got it wrong. The only person that's writing all this is SPM, right? Listen to how that sounds, bro. He's gonna sit in jail, prison, for another 3 years. Y'all will make a big deal about it coming up again. He's gonna get set off because he did that. And they'll give him maybe another 3 years set off, 5 years set off. He'll come back up for that parole and he'll get denied. He's gonna sit there and do that. They weren't trying to make an example out of him. They weren't trying to exact revenge on him. The courts just know that that guy was sick. That's one too many little girls coming forward saying that he did something. So I'm sorry if you looked up to this guy. I'm sorry if you liked his music. I'm sorry if that's what your childhood was all about, because it was mine also. And I didn't want it to be true. I thought that people were just trying to do him dirty. Well, guess what? I took my head out of my ass and I went and I did the research for myself. And it's just what makes it even worse is that the dude that I used to look up to and bang his music did something like that. Like, you were really the one Mexican here in Texas that could have put on for our people. Instead, you made everybody, and you still continue to make people here look stupid. It sucks when you have that in your mind and you remember that was your whole childhood, and to find out that this dude was a weirdo the entire time and you looked up to somebody that you should have never looked up to. Kind of crushes my childhood a little bit. But he did it. And I want y'all to tell me in the comments, each and every person who sees this video, I need y'all to get in them comments and tell me, yes, he's innocent. No, he's not innocent. So if you say yes, he's innocent. If you say no, he's not innocent. I really want to see how many people are going to get in them comments and tell me that he's innocent. And if you do, hey, I'm not going to say nothing. I respect that. That's your opinion. That's just how it is. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, people are still going to take up for this guy. If that's what you want to do, hey, that's your opinion. We live in the United States of America. You're entitled to that. But I really want to see what everybody thinks. I really want y'all to go look this up and do the research for yourselves. Because as men, and even as women, all we have is our word. Our word and our actions. If those ain't solid, nothing about you is solid. So, go ahead and look it up. Come back in the comments and let me know what you think. I'm going to do another video coming soon. I want to make a shout out to Gunner. Shout out to Dub. Even John Bravo. I don't know if you're going to watch this video or not, but shout out to you too if you do, man. Those are the type of people that I want to look up to. Those are the type of people who motivate me to do things. Not some old weirdo that's sitting in prison trying to make everybody believe he's innocent. Because he ain't. I have another video coming out soon. Until next time, stay tuned. Don't take my word for it. Do the research yourself. I really want you to go do the research for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. Go do the research and then come and let me know that you support that. You're a weirdo if you do that. There's nobody hating. There was nobody trying to get this guy. No revenge, trying to get money. The dude was just a weirdo. And he used his name and his fame to try to get away with it. No 9-year-old is going to come and say things like that just because their mom told him to say it. Did the mom also tell her to say about all the stuff she was feeling, headaches, stomach aches, all that kind of stuff? The mom wouldn't have known to say all that. The little girl wouldn't have remembered it all to bring it up, let alone keep repeating it over and over to all these different kinds of people. Just get over it, man. The dude was sick. There was a pattern of all these young little girls that he used to go and mess with. There's evidence. He got one pregnant. He got caught with 2 in a hotel, so you can't deny those. And then all these other ones came flooding in. Why? Because he did it. What more do you need? So understand, I was watching a video the other day and SPM's sister was doing a TikTok, not a TikTok, Instagram. And she was like, oh, I know we're all sad, but it's okay because these haters don't know. Look, man, I understand that you're dead. I understand. That's about the only person I understand that should be trying to back up her dad, because that's your dad. But I think